Hi everyone and welcome back to Second Rank Fire. I'm your host Ben, and as always, here's my co-host Dave.
Good evening, everyone. How's it going?
How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing very well.
It's been over 2 weeks since we recorded. We're recording this one quite
I
late
know,
for us.
right? Yeah. So I've been quite well, being very busy, doing bits, back in the hobby mojo, not doing stuff that I should be doing, but still hobby nonetheless, as they say. But yeah, I'm doing
let's
good.
get crack straight into it, Dave. What have you been working on?
Well, I suppose I've got the yellow done on my intercessors.
Yeah.
I redid the black, did the joints. I managed to do all the yellow helmets. I was quite surprised, quite pleased how they came out.
Yeah, they were nice and bright. They were really crisp.
Yeah. I just got the sergeant's head left to do, and I've pretty much somehow smashed out my Lord Marshal guy, mostly done. Just got the little bits to do, as you've seen on my Instagram posts and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've already quite enjoyed him painting him. He's got a nice fresh thing to do, and I should get him done this week, hopefully.
Nice.
If that's the case, then I'll get my other 5 Death Riders bases done, because I've still got 5 fully painted, but I haven't done the bases because of where the tournament I did. I decided to tweak it a little bit. And yeah, so yeah, I've been. Oh, and I've done my Limrus my Exterminator, done the grey. I managed to find my blue tack.
Nice.
And I've done the grey on that. So I've got my 3 Limrus battle tanks to the left, all ready to go to dry brush stage, all over the armour. Then I'll do like some like weathering, like rusting effects with Rockside Brown, like really watered down, and go over it and just pick out the little details and stuff like that. Apart from that, yeah, busy boy. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just on you. How many horses have you got left to paint after that, or is that the last of your 60?
No,
was it 62, 63?
I've got 10 over there on my metal tray over there. So I've only got 10 left to do, and I've just got to finish these 3 tanks. Then I've got a 32k painted force. But I'm in no rush. Yeah, just horses and tanks. That's it. But my next, probably sticking with the guard for a long, long time. I don't know if people seen the data sets come out, the new ones. Death Riders are pretty much the same points price now for Rough Riders. So they're 120 points for 10. So they've dropped by 20 points. And if you haven't seen my Instagram posts, the people that are listening or watching the YouTube, so I'm just currently dry brushing Marbo as we speak. Because I had 60 points spare in my 2k, and I was like, you know what, I like Marbo, he's quite a cool character.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have him, and he's probably got his pants, but it'll look good doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so I'm just trying to get the main character guy done for my tournament in what day are we now recording? The 8th, so about 2 weeks to go.
Okay.
I just need to paint him, and he'll be leading all my cavalry rather than Lord Solar this time round. It'll be quite interesting to see how he does with the Death Riders, because he gives devastating wounds on the charge. So I'll be quite interested to see how it would work out if I'll go frag tips, if I manage to get charges off to get the number of dice out.
Yeah.
Or see how, if it's just worth just going power sabers in combat, because they get 3 attacks each.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean.
With the -2 AP, I think, with their pet saber swords. So I like to see how it weighs out with the two. You know, it's just mainly fishing for those 6s, to be honest, for mortal wounds. That's all I'd be doing. But it'd be quite nice to see how they compare with each other. But yeah, that's me. How about you?
Nice. Painting wise, I managed to finish my Repulsor Executioner.
Yeah, that's sick.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm amazed I managed to get that done quite as quickly as I did. Most of the time was actually getting the stricken grime back off. Obviously, I stricken grime the whole thing, and I went through a lot of stripper to get that back to where it was. And then so the top and the rest of the turret and stuff like that didn't take anywhere near as much as the main body, but I managed to get through that a lot quicker than I expected to be honest. Really happy with how it came out.
Yeah.
And I also managed to get some more gold spraying done. So I sprayed up it's quite less 5 infiltrators, the 5 heavy intercessors, 3 eradicators, 2 standard lieutenants, 1 lieutenant with combi weapon, the tech marine, Calgar and his retinue.
Yeah.
And I think that might be about it. But still, it was quite a lot.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah, I wanted to get quite a lot sprayed, so that way I could kind of focus on just getting stuff painted. The aggressors that I posted, they're not part of my... Well, they weren't part of my 2K list, but now they've dropped in price in that data state, balance data state that you've just said. But so did heavy intercessors. I'd already moved those into my list, and they dropped in points, which is very tasty. Yeah. So it was a nice little win. They did nerf Calgar and Gilliman a little bit. Yeah, mainly Calgar, but he has to be a warlord to get the CP now.
Yeah, it's like Lord
Points-wise.
Solar. He's an epic hero, isn't he? Marcus Calgar and Girlyman, isn't he? They're epic heroes, aren't they? So they need to be your warlords.
Yeah, so Gilliman has to be your warlord if he's in your army list. Calgar doesn't, but Calgar has to be your warlord to get the CP. So obviously everyone was taking Gilliman and Calgar. So the thing that they nerfed Gilliman on is he's got his thing where he can give out a free or 1 less CP. I can't remember if it's free or 1 less CP stratagem. And it was worded so you could do it every turn. In your own turn and the opponent's turn. And then you had Calgar. So effectively you're getting like 3 CP a turn.
Okay.
Plus your standard CP. So actually you were getting like 4 CP a turn. Basically, because you had Gilliman doing that in Calgar.
Yeah.
So they nerfed Gilliman, so you can only do it once a battle round. So that was one, and Calgar has to be a warlord. So if you've got Gilliman in your list, you can't do both.
You can't have both. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Which
yeah,
is
so
fair enough.
You kind of almost going back down to the 2 CP unless you'd like throwing away a secondary mission and things like that. So. Yeah, it's nerfed them a little bit, but it's worthwhile. I think heavy intercessors went down by like 10 points. Aggressors went down by like 20.
Yeah, that's quite a big chunk of points. And if I wasn't going the Blood Angel route on my Blood Angel stuff like Assault Intercessors and stuff, I would so go heavy intercessors because they're just such chunky points.
So nice. So I've started painting those up this week. In fact, they are ready for the Streaking Grime. The only reason I've not got Streaking Grime is because I've got no strippers to take it back off.
Yeah.
I should hopefully get that in the next day or two. But they're ready for Streaking Grime. I love them. I've really, really come round to Gravis. Not that I ever didn't like Gravis armor, but I never really ran it and everything. So obviously, Dark Angels wise, I was always quite heavy in the Terminator side.
Yeah.
Whereas, painted up all the aggressors. I've mostly painted up the heavy intercessors. You've got Calgar who's wearing Gravis armor. I've got some Inceptors ready to paint here in Gravis armor. The Gravis armor is just stunning. I think it's an amazing armor pattern. I think they've done a really nice... There's a lot of detail in there, don't get me wrong, but the scheme I found is super, super quick. Because all the gold sprayed on.
Yeah.
I am... Go on.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
So it's the gold sprayed on. I paint silver and Rhinox hide. So Rhinox hide goes into all the armor joints, goes into all the leathers, everything like that. Anything that is leather, I then dapple with Mornfang brown.
Yeah.
Give it all a wash. Quite a heavy Agrax wash, and then I do the red and maybe a little bit of burgundy here and there. That's it. Then Streaking Grime. It's super quick. There's only like 4 or 5 colours if you've got a purity seal, adding an extra colour to that, but yeah, it's super, super quick as a scheme, so I'm really pleased with how it's coming out.
Oh, that's good, man. So it's definitely, you've done your homework, and I feel like you seem more happier with the process rather than the old Mark 1 idea that you had for your custom chapter. That's good.
Yeah, that blue, don't get me wrong, I love the look of the blue and the orange. It was a lot harder to pull off consistently and yeah, trying to do it took ages. Absolutely, like
Yeah.
these 5 assault intercessors, it's taking me like, I don't know, like an hour and a half post spray, maybe
Yeah.
2 hours to get 5 of them ready to do streaking grime. It's mad. It's such a short amount of time. It really easy taking me that just to do the armor, never mind to do anything else. So
Yeah.
yeah, really pleased with how it's coming out. I think that's it paint wise. I haven't done
Oh,
any
good.
YouTube stuff, obviously, because I am being me. I'm not done any of that stuff. I will get it done. The ideas are all there. A lot of the structures in place. I will get it done.
It's
The
just
big
trying to
old,
find time and place, isn't it?
yeah.
Just to get it done.
Yeah. To be fair, the big one this week was obviously I went to UK Games Expo over the weekend. That's just gone almost last weekend, nearly a week ago as we were recording. It was insane, absolutely insane. I would anyone listening, I highly recommend going. I will say I'm good with I'm good with people. I don't mind being around a lot of people. Crowds annoy me, but I think they annoy everybody. But I don't know. I don't get freaked out by crowds or anything like that. It doesn't give me anxiety. But the Saturday, even I at times was kind of like a little bit overwhelmed. Mike from Gatehouse Gaming, who we interviewed on the last one, I was chatting with him. He had a stall. He was saying that they had 24,000 pre-booked tickets on the Saturday, and they had unlimited tickets to purchase on the day.
That's bad.
It's insane. It's so many people. I rocked up at about 10:30 on the Saturday, something like that, so I just had to drive up from Bristol. And I'm glad that I did. I managed to park up, get my ticket really quickly. But yeah, when you get in, there was just nowhere to go. So yeah, I'm glad that, like, obviously because we chatted with Mike, stuff like that. Mike had a nice big stall. I went to see him. He was like, look, anytime you want to come in, just give us a shout. Just come and sit back here and have some quiet space. So I had like Mike is like I could go back to him and use him as safe space. And the Cryptic cabin crew were there as well. So I was able to go and chat with those guys quite a lot. They were literally just around the corner from each other. So it was good to have like safe spaces to go to. But yeah, there was so much there. So much there. I spent a lot of money. Arguably too much money, but yeah,
that's all right. Just hide the receipts, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. So it's, as we're recording, it's my birthday in like 2 days, and then it's Father's Day less than a week later, and so I've badged it all under that. So yeah, I didn't pick up a huge amount of Warhammer stuff. I picked up the matte spray from Colourforge. I've obviously got their sprays. Absolutely adore their sprays. Loads of people have been recommending their matte varnish to me, and they've got a model that they take around. They've had it for years. They varnished it all with gloss. Yeah, that's the right word. And then the top half they sprayed with their matte, and it honestly, given it's been varnished like 3 years ago, it's an impeccable state. It's in a really good state.
Yeah.
So yeah, I picked up some of that. That may have about been it for a while. I picked up a few models, like display models, stuff like that, and a few board games. I picked up the dice. Do you know the rapid fire dice box?
Yeah. So they go in fives, don't they? So they can have like 25 in them. Yeah.
So it looks like a little crate. Yeah, you load up your dice, and then it effectively rolls them for you. You can stack them out in fives. It's just like a speedier way of doing it. It's almost like a dice tower, but for the D6s for 40k in effect. So you just get them out in fives. Mike over there that sort of did them. Really, really nice guy. I had a really, really long chat with him. He's doing a fancy one. It's a fancy version. Obviously, it's a crate. So it's like very 40k-esque. But yeah, he's doing a fancy one at the moment. So it's on Kickstarter. Yeah, really, really good quality. Really, really nice guy. So yeah, picked up one of those, and yeah, it was a wild time. I'd definitely recommend going. I think I'll probably end up going again next year, and
yeah,
I'm glad I did 2 days.
Yeah, I'll definitely try. Fingers crossed it doesn't land on the day that I have my daughter. I'll definitely go. But no, just to experience it and like see the folks that you saw and stuff like that, and just so they can put names to faces and stuff like that. Because and you see like one half of second rank fire, which is only you,
Yeah.
and there's like, where's the other guy and stuff like that. And it'd just be nice to see the other folks and
Yeah.
be like in that part of the community experience. And like you said, it's like,
Yeah.
I won't go there just for specifically Warhammer.
Yeah.
There'd be like stuff there. You're like, oh, that looks quite cool. I like look at that model. I'll just buy it off the whim,
Mm.
and I may paint it eventually
Yeah.
because I would like to try like the big bus models, like what you've done, just to fall different. If you're really burnt out with 40k or Warhammer or AOS or whatever franchise, it's just that nice. Just take a break, but you're still technically painting, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. And I've seen the ones that you've got already; they look quite cool and stuff like that. So it'd be quite,
Yeah.
and it's a good way to learn techniques as well on
Yeah.
a bigger scale in a way, isn't it? So when we
That's
got
why I bought them. Yeah, it's quite a different way of painting display compared to models. Everything's at a slightly different. So I got two. I got the bus from LPP, so
Mhm.
LPP Insta on Instagram. So it's like a Space Marine bust. It's really really cool. It was quite cheap as well. It was like 25 quid for this bust compared to
Mm.
so many of the busts. Honestly, you're looking like 50, 60 quid for an equivalent bust. I think it was a really really good value. And then I went to the Realms of Tiberium. I
Mhm.
think it's sad to say it. And I got the Orc Shaman from that one. Honestly, man, the quality of those is stunning.
Mm.
But yeah, the scale's different. The quality's slightly different. So yeah, the focus is quite a different way of painting. That was why I picked them up. Just to try and have a bit of a go at that. So yeah, Expo was insane. Like I say, I definitely recommend it from a social point of view. Yeah, I could have gone ages without seeing anybody. It was huge, absolutely massive. So I probably went like an hour or two without seeing anybody that I knew or anything like that.
Mhm.
There was one point where I was, so I met Jade. I can't remember what her tag is on Instagram. She does just dioramas for Gatehouse Gaming. So she was there doing a demo. So I'd met Jade. I'd spoken to Jade before I went and sort of said we'd have a chat and stuff like that. So I went over to see her, and I was just stood around, and then I looked up, and Lady Kane had found me with her partner Becky, and then there was Alex, AJM Nerdcore. Alex was there.
Mhm.
M from over at the Sisters of Eldar. Tiz was there. Sam was there. I like looked up and Millie paints and me
Mhm.
paints Minnie. They were all like, I just turned around, they were just all there. There's probably like close to 500,000 people's like followers worth of people just sort of stood around, and I was just like where I knew all these people were sort of there throughout the day. I was just like, what just happened that they all just crowded around. Yeah, like War Hipster was there. Josh turned up.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was mad, absolutely mad. But yeah, it was really nice. Got to meet a few people that I hadn't met in person for the first time. So like Guy Midwinter Minis was about, so I managed to say hello to him. Saw Dave, Mini Wargamer Dave on the Sunday. Managed to have
Oh,
a catch up with
nice.
him. Yeah, so it was a bit of a weird sort of who's who of Warhammer Instagrams there. Even though like Warhammer weren't there, there was no Games Workshop there and no Citadel or anything like that there. Um, yeah, it just seemed to be like the who's who of Warhammer, which was really nice.
Mhm.
It was really, really nice to sort of catch up with everybody and meet a lot of them in person. But yeah, that took over actually quite a lot of my sort of 2 weeks. Had to do a lot of prep beforehand, make sure like all the family was ready and stuff like that, and then came back and obviously just been away for 2 days, sort of dedicated a bit of time to the family and stuff like that. So yeah, it
Mhm.
took up more of my time than just the 2 days, but it was well worth it. It was amazing. Um, I think that's me. I think that's everything I did. It was a lot. It felt like a hell of a lot this week, all these 2 weeks. So, what have you got coming up for the next 2 weeks, Dave?
For me personally, I want to finish the Lord Marshal guy
Mm.
off. I would like to get at least the black dry brush stages done on my Blood Angel intercessors. So like their weapons, the chapter icon,
Mm.
anything that's black to be honest, and the Silence head, and probably do my Marbo character as a bonus potentially.
Okay, yeah, that'd be nice.
And because I can I can easily envision now. I'm just looking at them now. I'll be really hard not to put them down. I'll just probably get them done in a day.
Once you get going with it, yeah.
And it's such a unique character model. It's a shame they
Yeah.
can't do all the Catachan infantry guys as these guys, like the build as him, not
Yeah.
like the retro, like my arms are bigger than my thighs type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You
Yeah.
know. But yeah, that's me. So 5 intercessors, get the black dry brush done. Hopefully get my Lord Marshal completed within the 2 weeks, which should be done because I've only got like the little detail bits to do. And bonus points for me will be getting some colour on Marbo, which I've literally just finished dry brushing them now. So
Nice.
he's all ready to go. So yeah, that's me. How about you?
Custom chapters are my main focus at the moment. I'd love to be able to field the custom chapter against you. I'm not sure how much of it will be fully painted. Obviously, the 5 heavy intercessors, hopefully, fingers crossed, over the next couple of days, I'll get the stripper or the thinner. So I get those finished. I've started Calgar, so I've done I've done the silvers on Calgar. So I'd like to get him finished, and the Tech Marine I'd like to get finished as well. I've not started the Tech Marine. He's sprayed, but I've not started him. So yeah, those are kind of like the main focus. I really want to try and do some YouTube stuff. I say this is like the 3rd or 4th one in a row that I've done it. I think maybe I won't get any YouTube stuff done, or maybe I'll just try and focus on maybe getting like the Eradicators, starting to get some paint on them or something like that. Because yeah, if I get a lot of that done, that's like the backbone of the army. I've dropped it down to 20 intercessors in that list. I've got them, or I've got 15 painted up in the old scheme, and so actually having them painted in that scheme doesn't bother me too much. They're still fully painted and based and stuff like that. They won't fully match the army, but hey. Or I get them to spray gold, because that's the other thing I can do is kind of just get the gold spray out, and well, the brown spray, then the gold spray, and get a lot of the 2K painted gold, because at least then it kind of is a cohesive force, even if it's not finished. So yeah, maybe the focus is 5 heavy intercessors, Calgar, Tech Marine, and maybe the 3 Eradicators as a bit of a push to try and get those done as well.
Is this for your fully 2K army that you're planning? Yeah.
Yeah, so the custom chapter, I'm just going to paint everything. I mean, I'm even getting to the point of thinking, do I strip my Dark Angels and have them painted in the same scheme? So the idea of the custom chapter is that I can get bits of any chapter and do them as like a custom chapter of anyone. So they are an alternate custom chapter in my lore. But I'll get like Blood Angels, I'll get Black Templars or whoever, and I'll just collect it over time. And so there's somebody on the Discord who does something similar, and he's got like quite a lot of Dark Angels. Toby Torhammer does something very similar with his. It means that I can have 7,000 points or whatever I've got of Space Marines, and I can kind of run them as any chapter. And it'd be nice to have the Dark Angels kind of pulled into that, because I think the Terminators look really good in this scheme.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, at some point I might strip the Dark Angels down, but right now the key is to try and get what was the Green Wing painted up in the scheme. Focusing on a 2K list, because I want something that's playable for a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main focus I think at the moment. If I can get that backbone of the army done, then I'll be quite happy. It should work out.
Yeah, it sounds like. No, you said you was doing the Tech Marine. So usually, if people don't know at all about Tech Marines, they're usually red. How would you go about your one? Are you going to go gold, or are you going to go traditional Tech Marine red with the gold shoulder pad type thing?
So I'm going to do it a bit of a hype, because obviously the shoulder pads on my custom chapter are red. It's just not like I'd do a gold one. It would be a red one anyway, so it just look weird. So what I'm actually going to do is fully painted gold. I'm going to do like the extremities red and leave like the core. Yep. So like his chest and like most of his legs will be gold. And then I'm going to do red arms, red shoulder pads, red shin guards, red head, and then a red backpack. So kind of be in between the two. So it'll still be obviously a Tech Marine with a lot of red, but it will still have that sort of gold core that runs through. So hopefully it'll work out. When I start painting red, if I don't like it, I'll just keep painting red, and it can just be a standard tech marine, and it'll just be all red with gold trim. So yeah, that's probably the nice thing about the scheme is stuff like that. I can just kind of just paint panels and then keep painting until it works as a model. So
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sounds good, man.
Yeah. So you'll probably be able to see the tech marine that's sat on the top of the repulsor executioner. It has red arms and red helmet.
Yep.
And then because I've not done the 360 pan, it's got a little. He doesn't have a backpack on the repulsor executioner, but he's got like the connector, so that's red, just as a throwback to it. So it looks alright on that one anyway. So hopefully it will carry on.
That's cool. Oh yeah, I see that. I see what you mean by the red arm. Like it's like a red metallic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that with the silver with like a red wash over it?
It's gold, and then it's got Blood Angel's red contrast over it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've seen that happen quite a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the, so all the shoulder pads do the same thing. So all the shoulder pads are the same. It's interesting because when you then put it looks a bit patchy when you first put it on. It being contrast over flat panels, it can do. The streaking grime in the act of taking streaking grime off actually sort of flattens it. It's amazing for it. Like things can be super patchy, and streaking grime will just even it out. It's part the thinner. It kind of thins the paint out and evens it out. The other thing it does do is in corners, it'll sometimes take the red off completely, and it's almost like you've got armor wear and things like that, like panel wear. So just on those edges, it will have like a little bit of gold shine through. So it's almost doing like battle damage or battle wear and edge highlighting for me. It works really well. Like all the silvers, none of those silvers got edge highlighted on. It's the Dwarven Iron from Two Thin Coats, really, really nice. Agrax wash over it, then streaking grime, and then when you take streaking grime off, because especially on the Aquila, it only really takes it off the edges, so it kind of gives you a somewhat natural edge highlight.
Yeah. So is it just after you applied your paint, you go straight over with your cheap paint? I can't remember what it's called now. Dirt and grime one. Or do you wait till your first layer of paint is dry, then you go over, then you remove the excess?
So you let your model fully dry. So this has always been the scary thing for me. It's why I've never done it up until this point. You basically finish painting your model, and then you head to toe absolutely cover it in streaking grime.
Okay.
Like it's brown head to toe. It's terrifying because you think, I've just finished this model, and then you just go and ruin it all. Then you let your streaking grime dry, and then you go back over it with like a thinner, and because it's an oil paint, basically it just takes it off. So it's good. It could be a lot of work sometimes if you let it dry. So like the panel, the grav panels on the repulsion executioner, they had streaking grime on for like 4 days before I stripped those back. Stripping those back was a pain in the backside. Yeah. But it leaves more on as well. That's the thing. So it leaves it so it's grimier. So the longer you do it, the harder you have to get it off. It looks grimier. Whereas other bits, I've waited 15-20 minutes and then gone back and taken it off. It's mostly dry, especially in nice weather. It's mostly dry, but it just comes off a lot easier. It's scary the first time you do it, but it's magical. I can completely understand why people say it is the cheat code that it is now, because it makes my painting look a lot better than it actually is.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, it sounds like we've both got a manic next 2 weeks. I think I've got an easier, lighter 2 weeks than you have. But
maybe I'll say it a bit harsh on myself, but to be honest, with the new scheme, once they're sprayed gold, it's not too bad. Yeah.
You're literally halfway down, pretty much.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, basically. Yeah, the spray is incredible. The Colour Forge spray. It's absolutely, because I'm doing it as a zenithal, it really helps. Because it creates a lot of the difference for me. I don't really have to do anything.
Yeah, so you can see on one of your photos, which stalking you on Instagram as you do, and I've noticed it's like when you first primed your execution, it's like the guy from I Love Gold. That guy, is it?
Hmm.
Is it Austin Power guy? I can't
Austin
remember.
Powers, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, save myself there. Jesus. Um, and you look at the other one, it's like a bit dulled down. Is that when you added the dirt and grime thing to it? Was it?
It's a mixture. It is a mixture. So
Yeah.
the Agrax wash is the first thing that starts to pull it
Oh,
down.
okay. That's why it's dulled it down. Then okay, I got you now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, the tank one's probably quite a good one because it's got the two stages on it in my Instagram. So it
Yeah.
has the super bright gold of how it starts. Then I Agrax washed it all, and so you start to see it dull down. It does have a bit of shine come through it because it's got quite a lot of metallic particulates in it, and so it does
Yeah.
it almost like glitters when you first done it. So Agrax really brings that down, and then Streak and Grime just pulls it down another layer. It makes it a lot grim
I
darker.
dread how much aggro Earthshades are going for at the moment just to done that tank.
I've ordered another pot. Yeah, I used about half a pot on that thing. Honestly,
That's insane.
That was a lot. Yeah, but it's 220 points, right? It's 10% of my army, so it's
Yeah, sorted. You know,
220
points
might be
mean
more than
prizes, as I say.
exactly. To be honest, I think I was genuinely really worried about that tank, and I went with peer pressure. So when I finished the aggressors, I put it onto my stories and sort of asked people what they wanted me to paint next. The overwhelming thing was get the Repulsor Executioner done, and I was like, I've painted one unit in this scheme properly, and I'm going to go from one unit of 3 aggressors to a tank.
That's wrong to that.
Honestly, yeah, there was a lot of times where I sort of put the aggressor next to it and went, what have I done to myself? It's got a really ugly phase. The point where I've got the gold, the silver, and like the Rhinox hide, it just looks terrible because there's no depth to it. It's just 3 individual colours. The gold's super bright. It doesn't look grimdark at all. None of it really blends together properly. Once you get that Agrax on, you're kind of like, okay, I can start to see it. How it comes out after the Streak and Grime is, I'm really pleased with it. They're turning out really nicely.
Yeah, it's especially where you put the red as well. It like sort of breaks up into like 3 sections. So you got front, mid, and back, which makes it breaks up a little bit. It's quite nice. It's not overpowering on the red, but it's just that right amount, isn't it? And
it took quite a while to work out. Me and Johannes, who obviously listens to the podcast, talked it through, and we're putting pens all over it on pictures and stuff like that to try and work out where the best panels were. And for example, if you take the turret off, which you can't now, it's all stuck on, the red goes all the way over the top. So when you look under the turret, you can actually see the red shining through there. That was one of the ones where I sort of took the risk of putting the red there, and that could have got quite over. It could have gone quite over the top, but then putting the turret on and not putting too much red into the turret. Yeah, it's kind of like it breaks up the gold of the turret into the gold of the body, because you've just got this like line of red that sits through it. So yeah, I was really pleased with how that came out. Really pleased. I thought it was actually quite good for my skill level, to be honest.
Don't knock it. You're doing really good.
Cheers, man.
You've done from leaps and bounds. Went from slap chop back to old school painting, pretty much.
It's a weird middle ground, especially that repulsor. That repulsor's got a surprising amount of dry brushing on it to try and get the panels nice and flat. Obviously, using that much Agrax on it and using that much contrast on it, it got very streaky. So actually, there's a lot of dry brushing of Retributor gold over the. It's like an extra step. So obviously with the troops, I don't really need to do it because the Agrax and the contrast don't really pull all that much. But on the tank they did, so I added in the extra step. So most of the gold has Retributor armor dry brushed over it, and the red's got corn red dry brushed over it, just to try and leaven it out a little bit, which really did work actually. I was once I did that Agrax wash, I was like, oh my god, I've just ruined this thing. There's so streaky. It is still streaky in places, but actually that sort of managed to pull it back.
As long as you're happy with arm's length, that's what I say. If I hold my model at arm's length, I'm like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
done. Back it on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And this is me like army painting. So yeah, it is a weird in between. So it's not true like traditional painting. I don't edge highlight because balls to that. It's all done by
I've done that once.
I've done it. I hate it. The streak and grime really helps because anywhere there's an edge, it's going to take off the most of the streak and grime. It's going to give you a somewhat natural edge highlight. There's a little bit of dry brushing here and there. Using contrasts has been a big thing. Using the contrast over the gold gives it that sort of shiny thing sort of factor to it. So yeah, it's kind of combining a lot of the skills that I learned before I started doing Slapchop and some of the stuff that I learned during it.
Oh, decent.
Yeah,
well, that was a nice little segue into waffling on.
Yeah, it's nice.
So rectify the course. So pretty much, what was the subject for our topic of the day then this week?
Topic of this podcast is what's the best point value for a game of of Warhammer. I said 40k originally, but it could be AOS, stuff like that. So we got some quite a few comments on this one on Instagram, stuff like that. It's something that a lot of people take to heart, unsurprisingly. Should we start off with our own opinions first? Is it worthwhile saying what we think?
I'll kick it off anyway. So I think for me, for the Golden Zone, I'm talking like years and years ago, probably about 5th to 7th edition, where it was about 1,500 to 1,750 points, which was, for me personally, was the Golden Zone. Because, especially at 1,500 points in 3rd edition, you had to be quite careful how you structured your list, because back in those days, it was a force organisation chart, so you need to fill criteria out before you can have like your 3 elites, 3 fast attacks, 3 heavy supports.
Yep.
Which I kind of do miss. I wish they brought it back a little bit to have like power metas. I'll probably get shot down by people commenting, but that's my opinion. I understand why GW have done it where you are now. They just take what you want and have fun, you know. But I like to, with the points, with how GW's done it, you only have like 3 levels. There's no in between levels, if that makes sense. So you can go for Incursion, which is 1k. Then you go to 2k at like Strike Force. Is it called?
I think so.
Then you get Onslaught, which is 3k. So if you want to do like 1,500 points because of your mate who's just got into the hobby, he's I've only got 1,500 points. So you have to like, where does your game sit in that structure, if that makes sense? Because it does affect. I think it affects your CP. Is it CP or no? It affects your what you can take. Like you can take duplicates of like, for 1k they've changed it now to in 1,000 points you can take 2 of the same unit in 1k, and in 3k you can take up to 3 of the same. So if you've got a mate that's house rules, I'm sure you can house rule it and go, just say it's just 2k and we'll just go 3 of whatever, or just make it obsolete and go just take what you want.
Just take whatever you want,
But for me personally, I think 1,500 points to 1,750 is my Golden Zone. I've been doing a lot more smaller games because I've got a 500 point tournament in a couple of weeks, which is quite a refresher because you can't take everything. Even though it seems I'm taking a lot of like 31 guys in 500 points with like 40 points to spare.
You're a guard player, that's to be expected.
Yeah. But it's quite nice and it makes the games go quite quick. And it's really weird because and it also affects your, with the GW structures on your table size, because Incursions you play on, I believe it's on the same table size as Strike Force. It's like, I'm going to say round it up 6x4, give or take.
Something like that,
yeah. But then, so when you play 1,000 points on a 6x4, that's quite a big board for a 6x4. And then it just comes down to your own discretion. Like with your structure, if you pay 1,500 points or 1,000 points, you just say, can we play on a 4x4 board? Because it seems more reasonable to play on a 4x4. But yeah, that's me. As you said, it's quite interesting to see people's points and stuff like that. So where would your Golden Zone will be, as they were saying?
So I fairly similar to you. So obviously I don't play a huge amount, and when I do, I tend to play socially. So time is a thing. So I do, and I still play a lot of 2K. Obviously, the game we're talking about playing, we were talking about playing at 2K. It's 2K seems to have become the standard
Yeah.
competitively and even casually. 2K seems to be the one where everybody sort of goes to, and it feels like 2K is changing because it kind of gets you the point where you can kind of take whatever you want. You can have an answer to everything in a 2K list.
Hmm.
Um, I think someone pointed out you can actually take a whole company of Space Marines in 2K in 2,000
Yep.
points, minus some of the vehicles or drop pods or stuff like that. But in terms of actual number of Marines, you can take a full company in 2,000 points, which seems obscene to me. That's so many bodies in terms of Space Marines.
Hmm.
My issue with that is the fact that for those games for me, because I don't play that often, are 3 to 4 hours, which is it's a long time to be playing a game. As a parent, I don't, like I said, I don't have a huge amount of time to play games, and so kind of when I do, it tends to be more social. I tend to talk a lot with my friend, and
Hmm.
it ends up taking a long time. But then if you play competitively, you've got to try and do that in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
For me, a 2K game in 2.5 hours is such a rush that I don't feel like I enjoy it all that much. Um, so yeah, two K for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it because it means I get to take all the different fun models that I want to take. I do think that sort of 1500 sits better for me. It's a much quicker
Mm.
game. You have to really think about what you want to take and how you want to fill those different slots through different things in your game, like scoring secondaries, anti-vehicle, um, staying on your home objective and stuff like that. So much to do in a 40K game at the minute.
Mm.
Um, which kudos to GW. I think they've done a really good job of driving in the mission cards and secondary missions and things like that, which means
Hmm.
you have to change up your game a lot. There's a lot of things to think about in a Warhammer game, which means that your army list has to reflect that,
Hmm.
and I think that's much
100%.
much harder. Yeah, I think 1500 points. It's much harder to do that. It's much harder to make sure that you've got everything you need. So you have to think about it a lot more. Um, and yeah, I feel like at 1500 points you can be a lot more social. You can go and have those games. It's only going to take 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, something
Mm.
like that, to do those games. Uh, I think also at 1500 points, I've always found it less swingy, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I found at 2000 points, a lot of the armies who have the meta tend to kick off quite hard at 2K points because they've got an answer for everything. So I feel like
Yeah.
those meta lists, you tend to get hit ridiculously hard. So you either absolutely stomp somebody at 2K points, or you get absolutely stomped. I feel like the
Yeah.
tightness of those games is sort of less there at 2K compared to 1500.
Yeah. So I can understand that. Yeah. So I think when I was at last tournament, I think it was only one game that my stuff just bounced, and
Hmm.
he took a hardcore stuff in 1K, and I think the last potentially 3 games was all down to the missions.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was kind of close. But as you said, I've been in tournaments where it's like my AOS tournament, for example, where my first game I played against was 5 to 7 Bloodthirsters in
It's
my
brutal.
first game of AOS in months, and I
It's
was like,
horrendous.
oh, okay. So I literally got stomped like to the ground. I was like, I still carried on because
Yeah.
even though I was like beating a dead horse on me, but I didn't want to give him, as I say, like the satisfaction, or I don't want to disappoint him. So I just
Yeah.
rolled over and played dead like a dog, pretty much, and was like, just go to the pub or whatever. Um, and yeah, I can understand that it is very swingy at 2K, and especially with, I'm not pointing fingers at Chaos, for example, but Chaos have got the biggest, nastiest like combos you can have, I believe, so, with all their great
Okay.
demons. Like the
Okay. Yeah, we just
Bellicor
have to combine
is,
those in. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and stuff like that. And it's, in my eyes, I thought it'd be knights, but from my personal perspective, I'm not too worried about knights
Hmm.
because knights are quite soft and squidgy if you have the right arsenal. Then
Yeah.
again, that comes down to you need to tailor your list for all comers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Knights are probably
And
the biggest swing army you can get in 40K. If you can
mm,
deal with a knight, you can deal with all knights.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you can't deal with a knight, you're going to get stomped. If you can, you're probably going to be a knight player. They are, for me, having played them for quite a long time, I only just got rid of mine. They are the biggest swing army in 40k.
But yeah, it's one of those armies. I'm more of a Imperial Knight guy. I like the chivalry code
Mm-hmm.
and all that. I just wish their kits were a bit more, had a bit more variety of character,
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like more medieval, like sword and
yeah,
shield, or don't get me wrong, I like the Lancer. Like I like the idea of it with like the lance and shield. I just don't like the chicken legs and stuff like that. And
yeah.
it's very Dark Age style because it is still like Dark Age technology, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But as you said, so like, if you can take a knight on, then you've got no issues at all. But
yeah,
not a lot of armies will have stuff to deal with knights. It's like I can't. I'm probably picking the wrong one, but I say Gene Stealer Cult. We can't pick any. I find I probably find it quite hard
mm-hmm.
to deal with a full knight list, but I could be wrong. But I feel like at 1500 points, okay, it will nerf knights quite hard because they're like 500 points. I would say max for a good knight. Maybe I'm not really a knight person, so
It depends. It
probably
depends. Yeah, it depends on if you're playing Imperial or Chaos. If you're playing Chaos, the current meta is obviously, well. I say that the Codex is literally about to come out and change it up quite a lot. The meta to date has been a full War Dog army, and so for 500 points, you're talking like 3 War Dogs. Actually, you're not. You're going down from 12 War Dogs to 9, something like that, in a 1500 point list. I think rough numbers off the top of my head. It looks like Big Knights are going to get slightly stronger. But I think so. It does weaken Knights. Don't get me wrong. Going into a 1500 point list, I think it weakens other armies significantly more. I think Knights become a much stronger army the lower points you've got. Because if you go down to like 500 points, if I take a Knight Tyrant, for example, so the big guy with like either the big flamer and the harpoon or the big laser cannon and the volcano cannon, if you take that, he was 23 wounds, 13 toughness. He's got a 3-up ballistic skill, but he can basically one-shot anything in the game. At 500 points, can you name any other army that can take anything off the board? So we would have to tailor your 500 point list specifically to take out knights, and in which case you're going to really struggle against a horde army. Really struggle because you're just not going to have enough to take out the numbers. Whereas you look at like a Knight Tyrant, for example, has a volcano lance which can one shot pretty much anything on the game, but then its plasma has like 2d6 shots with blast and stuff like that. It has its top cannons, it's got its missiles, it's got like melt. It's got so many guns that actually it can deal with a horde just as well as it can with like big toughness things.
Yeah, I can understand that easily. I feel like unfortunately, I think GW won't reverse that decision of like 2K. I feel like they obviously it's a business. They want all the big toys to sell, and the only way you can get big toys is bigger games. So like 2K, and I feel like the whole tournament scenes has adopted 2K.
Yeah,
give or take, because I feel like what was it? I think we mentioned our last podcast. I think I did anyway. Where we was chatting to Gate. Is it Matt from Gatehouse?
Mike, yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Mike, sorry, my apologies. And how we mentioned, or I mentioned, where it went from like 1500, it went through the stages for years to like 1750, then probably 1850 at certain events, because then you can like take the more expensive goodies and how it just settled on 2K eventually. It's like all editions. It's like with Warhammer Fantasy Battles back in the day. It was a solid 2K for years. Then somehow, I think, if people don't know the old, not old world, but Warhammer Fantasy Battles, it's you have to divide your points, so you have a cap for everything. Like you got a cap for Lords, which is I think 50% or 25%. Heroes 25. I think Core was like minimum of 25% or something like that, and because you need a minimum of light troops. It's like
Yeah.
back in the old 40k editions where you had a must-have tape. I think then that went up to 2,400 because it was like then when you work out it's like 600 points give or take you can take on a lord,
Oh, yeah.
and the only time you can take a greater demon, for example, just picking demons again, nothing against you guys, but you have got the cool stuff. Like a great a Fate Weaver, for example, I think it was like 500 points, 550 points, and if he was in 2k, you couldn't really take him
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's a clever move by GW for like cementing 2k. I can understand why they've introduced like the combat patrols and spearheads. It's a good stepping point to get people into the game without worrying about the points for the time being. Because in spearhead and combat patrol, there's no points things and stuff like that. But that's another learning curve for other people trying to get into the game, and I feel like that's when they start getting into it and they realise the broadness of the hobby. And as me and you find out, Ben, like we don't have enough points on our list. It was like, I want to take this,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like you get at the point now where you're playing 2Ks, you can't take everything.
It's scary, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, it's interesting because Johannes, one of the people who sort of chats with us on Discord, he was messaging me and interestingly pointed out the fact that things feel quite undercosted in 40k. This comes back to the whole that you can get a whole company in 2k, and like I say, it's interesting as things have come on in the years. It feels to me not only have the points increased in the number of games, so going from like 1500 up to 2k, for example, in 40k. But the cost of things has gone down, and so it's gone from look at Custodes, for example, like an old 2k Custodes army, you'd be lucky if you had 20 models, 25 models. Now you can in 2k you can probably easily get like 30-40 models if you wanted to.
Yeah,
it feels bizarre for a Custodes army,
which is quite scary for an elite Palace Guard army, where like one Custody is about what 20 odd Marines or something worth or something. Do you feel like it's? I don't know what edition it was when they stopped making you pay for upgrades for like stuff in units.
It was 10th. That was 10th. Yeah, going from 9th to 10th was where they took away the point cost for equipment.
I don't know about you. I feel like that was a big mistake, I believe, in making the game fair, if that makes sense. Because from a guard's perspective, for my tanks alone, I can have a Lehman Russ battle tank cheaper than it was in 9th edition.
Yeah,
it's like Lehman Russ battle tank. I don't know what variation it was. I can't really pick because there's so many. It's like if you want like multi-melters for a tank, for example, that's like 30 points in total for 2 multi-melters, and you've got to be quite strategical in how you build your list then.
Yeah.
Because you can't go willy-nilly. It's like, now I've got 3 ranks. Brilliant. I've got like 4 Lehman Russ battle tanks. Go, what weapons should I have today? I don't have to worry about points cost now. I can just go kit them out as how I want it. And there's still 180 points for a battle tank, for example.
I think we're in a weird spot with it. I like it and I dislike it, and the fact that they've included the points in as part of the model. The reason I dislike it, I quite miss the list building aspects of it. Yeah, like that there is a huge thought process around which weapons to take, how to best optimize your army. The tactical marines were the prime example of it from a space marine point of view. What special weapons do you give your tactical marines? Do you give them the rocket launcher, the las cannon? Can you afford to, type thing, or do you just not? Do you just strip that out and use them as objective holders? So I miss it from a list building point of view. You had to think a lot more. I do. This is going to come across weird. I do think they've built it into the cost of the models or of the unit, but they've made all units cheaper. Just thinking, like I say, you've got like a Lehman Russ battle tank, which is cheaper than it was in 9th. But I could take a Repulsor Executioner, which is significantly cheaper than it was in ninth and things like that, and it's got a ridiculous amount. And so it feels like all models have got cheaper. But had they not reduced the cost of the models across the board, I think each individual model would be more expensive points wise, because they built that in. What I hate about it is the fact that the meta's always going to win out now. It doesn't matter what points you've got. That unit is always going to look the same. You take a unit of Tactical Marines, it's always going to look the same. You take a unit of Terminators, it will always look the same, because there is a meta way of taking them. There's a meta way of building them, there's a meta way of taking them. They will always be the same. I hate that. I hate it. There's almost no variation, especially when you look across some of the top lists. If they've got that unit there, you can almost certainly predict what's going to be in it. You can almost certainly predict which battle cannon you're going to put on a Repulsor Executioner and stuff like that. Because why would you not take the meta? Like, you're there to win a game. Why would you not take the best that you can? Yeah, I mean, the other good part about it is obviously it is better for new people into the game. They don't have to think. Like, list building was quite complex in 8th and 9th. 8th especially, because that was, I remember in 8th, I can't remember if they did in 9th, but 8th definitely, they had the different formations which gave you the different CP, which was like you need to take a minimum of like 6 like battle line as they are now and stuff like that. So it was a lot more complex in how you built your list and how you divided your points and everything like that. So I understand they tried to make it what were the words they used? Simple but not simplistic, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Simple,
I get
but
it.
not simple.
Yeah. So I get what they were trying to do. I just think people got into it. I think people understood it after a while. Like it was just part of learning the game.
There is some clever people out there that, by no means of their own, they find a chink in the armor, and they don't exploit it. They just know how to use it, if that makes sense. Yeah. But still exploiting, David. But, I'll carry on.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But I feel like, I feel we're both on the same page, where we wish it was back in the old days where it's 1500 to 1750, give or take. It's a shame that there's no middle ground between incursion and strike force for those casual people. Yeah. I understand why GW do it, because people that play the meta I may get shot for this, but sort of run the show. If that makes sense.
I think many people agree with you. The competitive scene of 40k is what runs 40k at the minute. It's a very heavily competitive driven game right now. You can see it with stuff like the balanced data sheets, like the meta reviews and things like that. Like GW are very heavily focused on making sure that the competitive side of 40k is what's driving it. Which I know that a lot of people, I'm going to get blasted for this. I know that a lot of people who play competitive and casually hate that. My response is, play it however you want to play it. You don't have to play those balanced data sheets. You don't have to play 10th edition. The rules for 8th edition still exist. The rules for 9th edition still exist.
I'm sure we've got like our old rulebooks in the attic somewhere.
Yeah, you can
still do that. Play that.
Yeah, there's people who play fantasy. To this day, there is still people that play fantasy. Going back quite a few editions, I'm sure there's people that still play like 2nd or 3rd edition 40k. You can do that. Yeah. I know that it's hard work sometimes because you're not getting those balance updates and things like that, but you kind of are where you are if that's the way you want to go. It's the way that 40k is right now. Like GW they're there to make money, unfortunately, and this is why I'm going to get shot. Don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the decisions they make around certain things, but at the same time I understand the fact that they're going to lean towards their competitive market because it's really good for them. Like if they change the meta, they're going to sell different models. It's great for them.
It's like when new youngsters come in and they're more tech savvy than me and you combined probably, and they'll find these meta lists, and that's why they rely on the competitive side. Say, see a person, say like a kid likes Tau. Don't beat him, but he likes Tau. And he sees a guy who's like winning all his games he's like the number one Tau player in the world, or whatever, on the UTC, and he sees his list, GW is not going to stop that kid buying the meta list, which is probably the most expensive stuff on that list, to play with, you know, and it doesn't come with a manual of how to play it, unfortunately, but unfortunately, we'll probably get burned for this episode, but hey ho, on the bonfire we go. GW don't care because they get money out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm 100% with you on this. Just take what you want. I know it's down to the perspective of the person who's playing that army. They may find it cool or whatever, or it may accidentally fall into the meta, as they say, air quotes for the people that are not watching on YouTube. Then that's their opinion, but everyone's got an opinion, you know, and it's down to your own discretion to be the better person and not crucify the guy that takes the meta list, for example.
Yeah.
But just take what you want. Just look at me and Ben, for example, or especially me, where I'm taking 60 horses.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's so anti-meta, but I'm hoping to go to a Leicester GT in December. I just want to see how well my ponies do at a GT.
Yeah.
And you never know. I feel like it'd be a sleeper list, but that's another chat for another episode. but yeah, it's been interesting to chat about it with the people on Instagram and stuff. As me and you have had a few messages and I've been quite surprised. It's been, don't know about you, but like sort of agreeing with us in a way.
Yeah.
Like
or arguably going lower. There's people who have gone even lower. Chaos Divided put like 1,000 points because it creates tightness in the games and to restrictions. The other really good point that they made, which I picked up on the Instagram page, is so Chaos Divided, for those who don't follow them, they do a lot of kit bashing stuff. Kit bashers, honestly, the amount of time that it takes to kit bash Johannes is going to be the prime example of this on our Discord. He kit bashes Chaos Knights. They're absolutely stunning. They take a lot longer. And so if you need to do a 2,000 point list and you want to do something from scratch, it takes you an awful amount of time to pull together a 2k list compared to like a 1k. So yeah, stuff like that. And like beginners, like if you want a beginner who to come into 40k or even AOS or something like that and to play competitively, because obviously there are people who are out there who want to play competitively from the off, and that's fine. It's going to take them a lot longer to get that 2k list up. It's going to, unless they go and get the army painted for them, which again, I'm not going to hold that against you whatsoever. It's going to take a long time to get that 2k list. But if you've never painted before or anything like that, it's going to take quite a long time before you can really play your first game. Which is just, for me, that's going to just going to turn people off the game more than anything.
I feel like for that, as you said about getting stuff painted in time and stuff like that, I understand like the minimum, like it's really hard to enforce because every person's painting could be interpreted as their own, if that makes sense. How can you tell someone that's not fully painted?
Yeah. And
stuff like that, and vice versa. You know, regardless, it's like that could be their best work ever.
Yeah.
You know, and who am I in my right mind to judge that guy compared to my stuff? You know.
Yeah.
He may not have enough time on his hands to be able to paint, as I say, okay for my standard over here. But I'm very judgmental with my own stuff because I'm not a master or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just a genuine dude. I feel like there should be a bit more leniency, and especially if you want youngsters to get into, say, I think for me the tournament scene, I like to see more people get into the tournament scene. It's not really left have unpainted stuff, but you know, just say like have not like the free minimum codes. It's really hard to like find a balance between the two, but just sort of like lift it up. Say if I was a new guy and I was like, look, I'm new, I'm not very good at painting, Just send some photos to a TO, and you never know, they may be able to go, yeah, that's fine, or just be a bit more kinder to the new people that are coming in, because not everyone's going to have the drive to fully paint a full army for a tournament, for example, because it is a massive task. I've done it too many times, like 3 months in advance. I've got to get 60-odd ponies painted in 3 months, and that's daunting. But I can't envision a new guy who's just started it like 2 months ago to do that task. Okay, there's quite a rare few that can do it, but I feel like in the tournament scene, depending if it's a UTC or ITC or whatever it's called now, I don't really know. Keep changing the name left, right, and centre. Is to relax the painting a little bit. Yeah. As long as you're not coming in with grey plastic or whatever. It's like, if it's primed and you've got a bit of colour on them, fine.
I mean, can you imagine if so take like Colour Forge, for example, the colour range that they've got. If someone came to a list and they're like, I'm going to run Ultramarines, and they had a 2K list that had been painted blue using the Colour Forge sprays, I'd be like, cool, they're Ultramarines. They're Space Marines, they're blue. Mm-hmm. Do I care if they've got grass on their base? Do I, hell? Like, why? Why would I care if they've got a bit of flock on their base? They're a colour that represents something that I can know roughly the rules. They've got a red spray, just go and spray them all red. I think we were talking before, I can't remember if I said it in the podcast or before the podcast. For our 2K list, I'm probably going to struggle to do my custom chapter. So I'll either just stop them and go, you know what, I won't bring my custom chapter to our game, or, do you know what, I'll just spray them all gold. There'll be a coherent force, like...
This is it. It's down to genuine people. So when me and your games in a couple of weeks, which we'll probably talk about more in the next recording.
Yeah.
Is I can tell you now is I'll probably have like still 10 Death Riders just slap chopped.
Yeah, fine.
You're not
going to bother me.
Because I've had a few games where people that don't know the 10 petitions, like if your army isn't battle ready, you won't get the 10 points. Of which I think they should just get rid of.
Who in their right mind is ever going to go to a game and be like, oh, we're tied on points, but your army's not painted, so I win? Come on, like, that's going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Like, if you played such a close game and you go, oh, actually mine's painted, yours not, just bin that off. Get rid of it.
I've had a game or two where I'm not going to name names, but I've had where I've always been 10 points behind, where they didn't agree. And this was like one of the other gaming circles which I don't play with anymore. And I was like, I look at it and go, really? It's like, we're playing toy soldiers. 10 points, And so I've always said that and most people are playing now, just don't give a toss. It's 10 points.
I could not care less. Come on. Yeah, I'll just say yes. Like.
Yeah, so I feel like that on the tournament scene, that should be removed, I believe. I can understand why GW are doing it, trying to encourage people to get stuff painted, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the tournament scene, I feel like it should do more lower point games more. It's like, I'm quite fortunate where I am. My mate Mike, who runs Midlife Gaming something. I can't remember, my apologies. And he always just runs small tournaments, like 500 points to a K, and it's quite ideal. And we have like 4 rounds. So I've got 1 day tournament, and we just do that for the day, and that's it. And it's a nice, easy get out, done, job done. But yeah, and we've had new kids come there quite a lot, and it's such a small size game, it's quite easy to learn, because for me, I've only got like 4 data sheets in my K. Less than that, I can easily memorise it after 1 game. Yeah. If you keep playing it repetitively, unfortunately, that's the whole part of the game. If you have more stuff of multiple units, you won't learn the army quickly. So I know it's sort of like copy and paste, unfortunately, but that's why I would try to encourage people to do. So like to do that in small games, to have like, not tell them to what to do, but if they want to learn the game for like new people, have the same stuff almost repeated, then then if you want, you can sort of flip it out. You go, right, I know this unit inside out. Right, I'll bring in like the heavy intercessors, for example, for a few games. I'll play them a few times. And it just gets you in that mindset of like, then you won't get accused as another thing. I'm very borderline with this one. Slow play, which is, if people don't know what it is, it's where people sort of like take the piss and they act slow to drag the game out for their benefit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Ben, but when I play, so it's usually about turn 1 or 2 is a bit not slow, but it's like a chess game. You put stuff in place, then by end of turn 2, there should be so much stuff dead.
Yeah.
The game will pick up, and you should potentially finish round 5. But I, for me personally, I haven't had a tournament scene where the person just said, "Look, I just want to call it turn 3," and obviously they're winning, and they haven't got nothing left on the board. Then you go, no. Then you've got to work it out, like do theory hammer, air quotes again,
hammer.
and which I hate, which can be so swingy.
Oh, I can. Yeah. I tend to. So I'm quite a slow player. So when I do math hammer, I tend to agree with my opponent that will roll out key things. Like. I'm like, yeah, statistics tell you like this, but come on, it's a dice game. Like, at some point, statistics go out the window, especially with my dice. So we'll roll it out in places that we have to.
It's like saying, right, say if you got your, say, Deathwing out, for example, in our tournament game, and I'm on an objective, and I know my stuff won't last a second against your Deathwing or and you say you've got area denial, for example, and I've got the centre objective. I'll go, right, it's fine, you've claimed that one, because I know you probably smash my face in and take me off it. So, as always my motto is, I just say, don't be a dick, to be honest.
That's rule 1, right? That should be rule 1 of every game, is don't be a dick.
That should be the only rule, just don't be a dick to anyone, and you'll find you have better games. But when we were previously talking about AOS points, I think where they've structured their units, they're quite high points for their units. Especially when you try to reinforce stuff, like for my dire walls, for example, for my soul blight, for a unit of 10, it's 150 points. But if I want to reinforce it to make it 20, that's 300 points. That's a chunky bit to take out of my force, just for 20 dire wolves, And I feel like their games would need to be 2K for me personally, because it just sits comfortably, because there's not a lot of stuff that's below 100 points, rarely. Probably a few characters.
Isn't it? So if you took 40k and you increase the points of a lot of what sits in 40k, you'd be the same thing. In reality, what we're kind of talking about is almost like a number of models. It's like a point per model. It's not necessarily like a full game. It's like 2,000 points is always going to be too much. It's like, well, if one knight was 2,000 points, as a knight, no knight player would ever say 2,000 points is enough. Like it's a point per model thing, and if there is a balance to be had, and don't get me wrong, like everyone will have it differently. There's some people who've sort of said 2K is better because if you run custodes or knights, you want to take 2K because you need more models. Like you take knights, for example. Like I was a bit of a die-hard big knight player. I was taking like 4, maybe 5 models to a 2K game. If you drop that to 15k, not 15k, that would be a lot. 1,500, 1,500. All of a sudden, I probably won't be able to score up secondaries. I might not even be able to score certain primaries. And so, actually, as a player with an elite army, there is like a minimum to make the game enjoyable as well. So there is a balance point. Don't get me wrong, but it is that points per model type thing. Sigmar for me has it better because it has a higher points per model, so you can have those higher point games. But in reality, if they reduce the value of the models, then you just reduce the value of the game. So there is definitely a trade-off.
Oh, 100%. And so, going into the comments, I think a lot of people are like, I say, between 1 and 1,500 points, which is, apart from that one custodian player, it's always one, you know. But then that's down to I understand like the more elite armies, say like knights, chaos knights, custodies and stuff like that, where you pay more for your, say, quality, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need the higher bracket because you feel like you're
Yes.
being underwhelmed and stuff like that, which is understandable.
But at that point, it's not about having a model to do to like fill a role in your army. It's being able to actually play the game, and I've
Yeah.
definitely had this as a Knights player, so I can definitely empathise. I did find as a Knights player going below 2k became quite problematic. It wouldn't do if I was a War Dog player, don't get me wrong, or it'd be less impactful as if I was playing War Dogs. But I was stubborn and play big Knights. It does start to hinder you being able to actually play the game. So it's not about wanting to take all those big models. It partly is. Don't worry. I want to take the big models. So
Yeah,
yeah,
who
of course I
doesn't?
want a big number. But yeah, where you've got those more elite armies, where those the point per model is significantly higher than any other one. It does. There is a borderline. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't think you could play a 500 point game as a knight player. Don't get me wrong. Like I could take a big knight and I'd stomp most armies. I'd have to stop them scoring very very quickly, because if they score points, I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I
you
got like
can't
one or
catch
two
up.
models. I just
Yeah,
yeah. So as a game point of view, you can't keep up sometimes. So I do see the value in some of these bigger games, and that's probably why I sit closer towards a sort of similar to you, the 1500 to the 1750 mark, rather than like the down at the 1k. 2k feels a little bit too much for me. But on the other side, if you're also one of those people who wants to go and have a 4 hour game of Warhammer because that's what you want to do at the weekend, perfect. Just bump it up, do even more points. You like play it however you want to play it. But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And I feel that's what GW have given us, like the frames. Like this is our guidelines, but play what you like. As me and you pretty much mostly you pretty much said about time, and it pretty much refers to one of the comments. Is it's the time factor, unfortunately. It's like we've both got kids, we work. I was like, I don't know how these people do all these tournaments. I was like, I like
oh
the
god
tournament
knows.
scene, don't get me wrong, but having all these people being envy of their free time when they can have got no kids and stuff like that, they can just
Yeah.
swan off and stuff
Well,
like
not
that.
only
But
that, but they've got the time to practice. I mean,
yeah,
like I love the VT guys, and don't get me wrong, they play so many games to be ready for
mm,
competition. They to be the best, you need to get a lot of practice in. The amount
mm.
of time that must take I can't even imagine it. I can't imagine having that much free time. Admittedly,
I
it's a
feel
life
like,
choice. I've made my choice to have this life, but
mm,
yeah,
I feel like for me, it's like if I was doing that mostly, not most every day, but say 3 or 4 times a week, I thought I'll probably get burnt out more personally from me perspectively.
but then
Because
it's how your hobby. You find a lot of those competitive players probably don't paint all that much, or paint to a
mm,
relatively base level. They don't necessarily get that much joy out of that side of it, and so they cheat. I must have spent a god awful amount of time painting, an
yeah, yeah,
insane amount. And if I had a game board at home or something like that, someone like if I could go somewhere like 2 seconds around the corner or something like that, do you know what? Maybe I would play more games, and
mm-hmm,
I'd do less painting. But for me, it's easier to sit inside and chat with people on Discord or on Instagram and paint at the
mm-hmm.
same time. Stick YouTube on in the background. It's just yeah. It's one of those trade-offs, isn't it? It's how we all enjoy the hobby in different ways, and for them, that's the way that they choose to spend the hobby. Which, to be honest, I'm quite envious of. I wish I played that many games. Or at least I wish I played more games.
What you played was it? Four? No, you played a game, didn't you? Like your
I've played
first
it.
game of the year.
I've played like 2 games this year, something like that. We're in June.
But it's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like there will be a time where, for you, for example, will be you'll have your custom chapter painted and stuff like that. As I know, there's a gaming club that it's like, for example, you can just say like, right, I'm gonna set myself a task, not a task, but a goal to at least do it once a month, like the gaming club
Hmm.
runs where you are. They do it once a month on a Thursday, and you could just do that once
Yeah.
a month, and that's 12 games in a year, roughly, give or take.
Yeah.
And and whatever other days they are. And so if you're free, if the missus is going out, the girls or whatever, and you manage to find a babysitter or something, or grandparents around for whatever, you can get them to cover the childcare, and you can have an unwind session.
Yeah, it's just where I am in life. Like, don't get me wrong, it is. I'm really enjoying painting at this point in my life. When the kids are a bit older, it may mean that they're taking themselves to bed or whatever, doing homework or whatever, and actually it frees up a completely different aspect of the hobby for me. Before I had kids, before I started the podcast, stuff like that, I used to play way more. I used to play once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. I didn't enjoy painting at all because that just wasn't where I put any focus, and so it's just life, isn't it? And so
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
right now I may say so. Go on.
No, it's go. Sorry, just cut you off at the end.
Right now I might say 1,500 points is the right place for me, because that's where I am in my life. But give it, I don't know, 5 or 6 years when the kids are taking themselves to bed and my evenings become a lot easier. I can go out and it's a lot less hassle. I might go back to playing once every 2 weeks, something like that. And actually at that point I'm going, actually I'm a lot quicker at the game. I know my army significantly better because I'm playing there so much more. 2K is actually a much better place for me.
Yeah, and as you say, it's just all about repetitiveness and being confident, and start with your friends. For me personally, start with the friend circle, like Jim, maybe at the club, play him a few times, so he'll understand that you haven't played for a while. Just slowly, it's not gonna be like instantaneous, like a click of your fingers.
I'm understand be a master again. The moment I start playing again, Dave, you wait.
Yeah,
I'll be
you'll dust out your chess clock later, won't you? So just bought a new chess clock.
Yeah, I'll be the number one Space Marine player in the UK in no time.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'll be a number one guard player.
Yeah. There you go. Look, we'll be pushing Manny out of the England team.
2028 or something. Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see.
But no, so I feel like GW should take more consideration to smaller point games and push that through to the youngsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rather than chuck down 2K and go, here you go, have fun, see you later. Because I didn't know this when I was trying to find a gaming club near me. Because apparently GW can't give information of that out in their local area. I don't know why. I feel like it's probably just they want to show favouritism between the clubs or whatever. But no, it's really weird because I feel like GW want to get newcomers in, but once they've fed them up with the toys, if that makes sense, and got them to buy a 2K Force, which is the current system at the moment, and you're like, here you go, back in the big sea, like a little fish, and they're like, oh god, who do I see? And they go to all these clubs. Each club is different, which is quite interesting to hear when I eventually go to tournaments and stuff like that, to hear people, because everyone, I feel like most of our listeners can agree with this, everyone's meta in each region of their bubble is completely different to any others.
Yeah,
because
you get good players in different armies and things like that. Yeah,
it's like you could be the number one player at your club, being like the bee's knees of everything, and you suddenly go to a GT and you get smashed. It's like, oh dear, what have I done wrong? It's having that pool of players you can play with to get experience from if you want to play more better, like for you, for example, in years down the line. And it all depends on your club and stuff like that. Because I know most clubs have that one person that has every army under the sun, and if you do, you're very lucky to have him. And just keep asking him and say, oh, can I play Admech, for example?
Yeah.
Because I feel like Admech for one force is quite an underplayed force, I think. I haven't seen much of them.
I don't know many Admech players.
And we had one at a tournament, a 1,000-point tournament, and he was just wrecking face.
Oh yeah, there's against them. Yeah.
What do I do?
What does your army do? Yeah. What do I target? It's that I understand your targets, things like that, isn't it? You just don't understand them.
It's like,
Yeah.
do you feel it's like a bit of a side tangent from points and stuff? So, knowing with like data cards and stuff, do you feel like the physical copies are pointless? Because I
Yeah,
feel
100%.
like
Yeah,
they're
waste time.
so pointless.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know why tournaments, like almost all tournaments, like, oh, you need to bring like a physical copy or something. I'm like, why? It's probably out of date. Don't bother.
Yeah,
Go on the website, the GW app or whatever. I'll take it from that rather than from a physical copy.
yeah. So, speaking in the points, it's like, would you rather have the old school organisation chart, so it's more structure, but you can still take whatever you want without like the points, like upgrades and stuff, or would you want as it is now, but you pay for point upgrades?
Good question. I think my preference would be to pay for point upgrades. The reason why is because I think you saw in 8th and ninth quite a lot. You saw a lot more copy paste armies than you do in 10th, on the competitive side especially. Because you had to have a minimum of X number of, I don't know, you had to have a minimum of 2 units of intercessors and 2 elites and whatever. You typically saw the same ones being taken in that army every single time, just because it made sense they were the meta ones. Whereas I think, obviously I don't play a huge amount, I tried to keep up with the competitive side a little bit, but it feels like in 10th the competitive lists have got a little bit more variety to them because you can kind of take whatever you want.
Yeah,
I think paying for upgrades would create the points per model that we were talking about earlier. It would increase the points per model, and so it would make those games. You would be taking less models to a 2K game, for example, just because you're paying for all those upgrades, things like that. You're getting a better point per model ratio for me.
yeah, 100%. For me personally, I'm torn between the two because I like the structure of it, the old ways where you have to take 1 HQ minimum, 2 troops.
Yeah.
Don't bring back the formations. I think that's where 40k took a massive nosedive off a cliff, which was pointless.
Oh, the amount of
And
CPs that were going into guard armies was ridiculous.
yeah, and especially like the Vindicator Line Breaker, where you brought the pie template out and stuff like that. It just got a bit OTT over the top with it, you know. But if I had to choose the one, I would like probably potentially pay for the upgrades, because then for me it makes it in my eyes fairer, if that makes sense, because you haven't got an Army Swift's knife for everything. You know, it's like, you know, I can't just go, right, I'm going to have this Lemurus tank again, for example, and I'm going to equip it with this and this and this and not pay a penalty for it, because it's almost like a get out of jail free card, because I can just have like an
100%.
executioner with all plasma and las cannons. And I remember when the executions came out and they were like close to like 300 points potentially and stuff like that, and where you could, and that's another thing I miss when with the upgrades, where especially for vehicles, where you could have like hunter killer missiles you have to pay for.
Yes.
Yeah. And with the guard they had armored tracks or something like that.
Yeah.
But that was with armored facings back in the day. But I'm sure that probably won't be there. Or it was like you could have like improved comms for the guards where you get +1 to reserves, I think it was, and stuff like that. To add a bit more character to your force and stuff. You can like then you can have like customizations onto your stuff, like your individual stuff, like Marines. You can make a cool pose with a melter gun, for example, and put a bit more character into your force, if that makes sense. Because
the Infiltrator
Marines,
is a prime example.
Yeah.
Infiltrators came out. You could take the guy with the helix thing, and you could take the comms one, and you had to pay for them. So you had to think about it. You're like, do I want a comms one, or do I want? Right now, you're like, why would I not?
Yeah, it's like, and I remember, I can't remember if it was last edition where you had to choose one or the other. You couldn't have both. You know, it's like, what did you want? That's like for you. I don't know if is it the Infiltrators that can do the bubble of like no deep strike zone.
Yeah, the 12-inch deep strike. Yeah.
Yeah, or you have this instead, but you don't get the bubble. if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And it's like, it's like you have to choose a role for that specific unit. And especially like with tactical marines back in the day, where you're like, right, I'm going to have a flamer in this unit. Right, that's got to mean, okay, they've got to get quite close then. So what would I want? So for Blood Angels, you could have a heavy flamer inside their tactical unit. So you just chuck them in the Rhino and just shoot them forward. And it gives a unit a purpose in a game of how you field it. And I feel like at the moment where there's no upgrade payment or taxes, you don't take that for granted, if that makes sense. It doesn't give your list construction any method behind your madness of how you constructed your list.
Well, you don't have to think, do you? You take a Terminator squad, you're going to take the Cyclone missile launcher. Why would you take any other heavy weapon? You don't even have to think about it.
It's like, when you had a Terminator squad, I remember when I was a kid, when it was 3rd edition, and it's all about the assault cannon. And it's like, it's a big Gatling gun, and it back in those days it did like rending, so it did like extra stuff to the thing. But I feel like they've weakened certain weapons too much. I don't know what the assault cannon is nowadays. I think it's like 6 shots, no
6
AP,
shots, AP1. It's like AP1 flat 1 damage,
and
or something,
devastating wounds
like
or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And it doesn't sound very terrifying, if that makes sense. It's almost like the Punisher. It's like the Punisher gun from the Punisher tank. It's a big freaking Gatling gun. It should be like tearing through like light infantry like anything, but it sort of doesn't.
It's good for one thing, and that's when you look at the Terminators, for example. It's good for one thing. You take the Cyclone missile launcher, and you get the option between crack and frag. Instantly, it does 2 jobs, and so it does it better. It has a better range and stuff like that. Like, I think again, it comes back to that points per model ratio. At the moment, you don't even have to think about it. It's just a set number. It may as well just be a set number at this point, because you're always going to take the same thing. You're always going to take what's ever in the meta. You don't really have to think about it, which I get is partly what GW have done. But then why bother selling any of the other weapons? Like, what's the point? Just sell it as a specific unit. Don't even bother with weapon choices, because we all know what it's going to be.
Yeah, or just have like 10 random guys, and just say to your opponent, "This is what they got, but they're not armed like it."
Oh yeah, with the fun of WYSIWYG at tournaments. That's probably a whole topic in itself for a different podcast.
Don't get me started about
accepting WYSIWYG, but yeah.
But it is when you stand back and look at how far GW came from the abyss of back in the day, where you rarely got army releases like twice a year, if you're lucky, to where they are now, and how the points evolved over time. It is quite interesting to see, and how it's all, the dust settles now for the moment until potentially 11th edition comes out next year, maybe. Who knows? GW, if you're listening, send me a copy. That'd be great.
Yes, please. Second rank 5 copy will be grand.
That'd be lovely. But it'd be quite nice if they hit a hard reset and go, look, right, 1,500 points, you've got to pay for upgrades now and stuff like that, but you still take what you want. You've got to just take a Warlord, have Battle Line still, which I feel is quite a nice touch, what they stole from AOS, which is quite a nice touch, and you just take whatever you like. I'm still 100% for that, and that'd be quite nice, but in my hearts of hearts, I know that will never happen, because they will never upset the competitive scene.
No.
Which is kind of the wrong way to see it. It's like when 10th came out, it was a nice refresh when it came out, and I feel like 1,500 points is the right amount of time for 2.5 hours for a tournament game.
Yeah,
it's perfect. I find it hard to push sometimes, even at GT Warhammer tournaments, to fight 2K in 2 hours and 45 minutes. They do.
It's not a long time for a lot of points.
And I feel people don't understand when they go to GTs. I think half the time that gets wasted, especially at Warhammer GTs, is the stupid deployment maps. It's so
Yes.
ridiculous, and that's another topic for another day.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, we definitely need to talk about
If
those.
it's
The
like
weird
if you
shapes and
haven't
stuff they put
got
in.
the new data cards, there's some very interesting setups, and so when you measure it out, and you got to do the terrain and stuff like that. And sometimes the GW terrain's not exactly to the layout of
Honestly,
what it is. Because in my eyes, I feel like why can't two grown-up men or women, whoever plays the hobby,
people.
people, they just agree mutually and go, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that will go there. That will go there. Bish bash bosh done. Why can't we just talk about people being nice to each other and come to a middle
Yeah,
ground?
because they're not.
But that
They're not. Yeah.
that's another could be a whole another topic about mission cards for another day. I was looking at it and scratching my head when I was looking at the new cards last week, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, "What?"
There's some really cool tools out there. I'm just going to put that out there. There's some really cool tools out there you
Oh
can
yeah,
get that do it all for you. Rather, because I'm still old school. I line my dice up in the right place. To make it all right.
yeah,
Some really cool tools out there. You just get them. They're almost like builders tools, which like scale to the right size, and you just plonk them down.
It's like plastic things about that long, and you got some that are curved for like hammer and anvil type thing. It's I have seen one of them. I was really tempted to resist getting one because it is quite nice. Because you know what happens when I've always been a dice guy, and you pick up a wrong dice. Oh, for God's sake, you have to admit, yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand it. But I wish it was 1,500 points, and that's probably the first time ever we'll probably agree on something ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think we both know the number that we want, but I think at the same time it's also we've had a really good conversation around the fact that it isn't cut and dry. It's not black and white. Our preference is 1,500 points, but loads of other people are going to like 2K. Loads of people are going to like 1K. Loads and so many people are just going to drop the number of points and just go for combat patrol or spearhead. Like we brushed over those fairly quickly, and I mean that's worth a conversation itself. Probably another time is almost like standard 40k over combat patrol and things like that. It's people prefer to do their things in different ways depending on where they are in their life, but it feels like 40k at the minute is driven by the competitive scene, which pushes the point value rather than by what people necessarily want to enjoy as the consensus. Which, to be honest, looking at the comments and the messages that I got, I feel like we're in the right ballpark around the 1,500 point mark. So kudos to us, we got there, Dave.
Yeah, eventually, long-winded, but
yeah, people feel free to drop comments and stuff like that and messages, because it's made me think quite a lot with some of the comments that have been passed through and stuff like that. So yeah, if you've got any more comments, just keep commenting, comment on the video, the podcast, whatever. It'd be really good to sort of see what your opinions are on there. Come to the Discord and we'll have a full conversation about it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, just play what you want to play. It's like, if you want to play 1,500 or whatever, or 1,250, who cares?
Go crazy. Do like 1374 or something like that.
I'll be quite impressed if you can get a list at 1374. You have to take a screenshot.
Have you not played those games before, where like someone's like, oh, this is literally I've got 1,980 points. Can we play? Or like, we're going to play a 2K point game, but I want to take this. It's going to put us at like 2020. The amount of games I played, I'm like,
I think there's one game I played and my mate said, "Oh, let's play 1250. That's all I've got." Then he worked out his list. He was like, "Oh, sorry, I was 1,400 points." I was like, "That's fine. I still play at 1250." It's like, I still took 1250. He took 1,400. I could, because I only brought the models that I've brought. I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's how it should be." Screw meta. Revolution.
Screw the meta. Do whatever you want. That's it's a game. Hell.
We play toy soldiers for a living. So.
Well, I wish. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that was a long-winded tangent, but I think we got there eventually.
No, definitely. And yeah, hopefully everyone else enjoyed it and stuff like that. So do you know what? I've just clocked that. So someone put a comment on one of the old podcast episodes saying we need a T-shirt with stuff like that on, and I'm really conscious of saying it now. I say stuff like that all the time.
What's that?
Me, I say stuff like that I'll say like a sentence and I'll be like, and stuff like that. Someone commented on a
Oh, stuff like
previous
that. Oh,
episode, and
really?
I
I
said
must miss
I know
that.
I've said it a few times, and we do need a T-shirt on that says stuff like that on it. It's a fair point. I say it a lot, but yeah,
I'll be
hopefully.
digging through the archives now, trying to find it.
Yeah, no, it's good. I need to comment back because I hadn't clocked it until I started to do editing. They're spot on. I do say it a lot. It seems to be my standard catchphrase.
It's quite terrifying when someone else notices it.
Yeah, I must say it a lot over the space of the hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever we end up talking about. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like you go to
But
your
yeah.
missus later. Do I say it a lot?
Oh, honestly, yeah, she'll be like, yeah, you say it all the time. I will do an outro. So yeah, thank you everybody for bearing with us through our tangents. We enjoy it. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you did enjoy the episode, please subscribe, leave a review, follow, whatever it is, wherever you find it, whatever the button tells you to do. We would greatly appreciate that. We love making it, and so obviously any feedback or anything like that we get on it is really useful. It's quite an adaptable format, and we try to be pretty fluid and roll with what people want.
And if you still want to comment on the post, just comment on the post. We'll respond whenever we can. But yeah, you'll definitely get a response and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Obviously, I am First Rank Wargaming. You are
Dave, Hobby Corner.
And it's been a real pleasure. You can get us on Instagram. Come over onto the Discord. I'll put all the links as per usual down below. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure. See you next time.
Awesome. Right. Cheerio, guys. Bye.
Bye.